easy go.
What's up, everybody? Henry from Fun Game Reviews coming to you guys once again. We're going to be talking about hero aids. As you guys know, I will be discussing mostly mainline heroes, okay? Basically, what we will be talking about is how to utilize the hero aids in every aspect. Like all the different game modes, if you will, use them in a particular game mode, and etc. Okay, so for this particular one, we are going to be talking about Ambrosia. I call her Machine Gun Ambrosia specifically because number one, if you actually have her enlightened and have her insight maxed out, you can see that her attack rate is so much faster. Another nice thing is that having her where you guys actually have the enlightenment up to 16, literally she has a even better divine where literally you are saving yourself a lot of HP, you're recovering a lot of HP, and kind of going from there. Alright, so one thing that we are about to move into is how do you do hero aids for her? How do you make her that fast? How do you make her supremely like ridiculous? Equipment wise, if you can actually get her to top speed and actually push back the enemy hero, having Thornbow makes it where every time you shoot at least 8 times, it will shoot the enemy hero backwards. It'll push them back. And on top of that, put some dot damage on them. Okay, so it really does help tremendously. Okay, so moving into hero aids. On Arena, so Guild Clash, Lords League, and Resource Raid. How do you guys actually manage her? How do you guys take advantage of her? Let's just say it could be low level, it could be high level, medium level, it doesn't really matter. But guaranteed, you need to have her with Blockhead. Blockhead basically gives her an insane attack rate boost. Remember, there's a difference between attack and attack rate. Attack rate is how fast they will actually attack. Okay, this is determining how quick she will be, the speed of her shots. Okay, even at lower level, I mean, she is going to be a little bit fast, but remember, you guys want to calculate how much you guys have. Like, when I showed you guys her insight, let's go back and calculate it, right? You want to maximize her attack rate. So attack rate, you can see I have 50%, plus Blockhead, that's another 40%, okay? Plus I have 2 Blessing Downwinds, so that's already a 100% boost. So already from how fast she is, she's getting an additional 100%, so that means she's already at 200%. I mean, you're not basically including anything with enchants. You're not including anything with glyphs. None of that noise. You are basically purely focusing on hero aids, getting the stats that she needs, and to make her as optimal as possible. So Blockhead is a guaranteed necessity. So let's start off with new players. Blockhead would be really good because of how big her splash damage is. She would be really perfect if she's not as squishy as she actually is. Okay, if she's actually not that squishy, she would be super ridiculously useful in many different forms. Many different forms, guys. Okay, so let me put it out this way. If you guys were to use her in, let's say, the defensive lineup, if you guys use her with Blockhead and you kind of put her in the center, and then you want to go, okay, so what are you going to be thinking about when you're in the defensive lineup? Defensive lineup, if you have Woven Fiend as a hero aid, when deployed hero hits an enemy, there's 60% chance to reduce his HP recovery by 80% for 4 seconds. For those of you guys who are trying to defend against an Abyss Demon, who are defending against a Toxic Shaman, Arcane Caster, whatever, right? Using Woven Fiend will definitely help you a lot. So, Blockhead, Woven Fiend. Okay, so we're starting with the defensive before we go into offensive. Okay, another thing you guys can do, you can use Wrath. With how fast she actually shoots, 50% chance to dispel a random buff from an enemy hero from the lowest HP every 3 seconds if a buff is dispelled. Heals deployed hero for 30,000 attack, and his or her increases attack rate by 25% for 6 seconds. Okay, so think about it like this. If you can actually dispel them, because of how fast you do it, 50% really, you don't really have to consider 50% that much. If you are blasting them away where you're shooting like 5, 6 shots per second, think about it. You're multiplying 6 shots and getting a way better odd of dispelling anything that they have on them. So if you're talking about Enchantress, if you're talking about whatever buffs that they possibly have, having Blockhead, Wolf, and Wrath together on Ambrosia could be really good. This is for low level players, okay? Um, Literally, you're like dispelling their buffs, dispelling all this stuff. If you guys are all about damage, you guys only want to make it where, okay, on the defensive lineup, you're like, okay, well, you can dispel them, you can block their heals, you can block whatever, but you want to make sure that they're consistently like pushed away. You can also make sure, just in case, because there are times where you can get stunned, you can get whatever. You can also use Enchantress. Enchantress will help a lot by dispelling any of the like negative impacts on her. Remember, our Ambrosia is really amazing because if you have her insight at level 20, you reduce all silence durations by 90%. So if they were stunned, silenced, whatever, 90% of that, of however long it would normally take, would be wiped out. And you would literally go back to blasting away like rather fast. Okay, another thing you guys can do defensively is you guys can take advantage by also, like, so you either go for, as a low level player, you're thinking either of trying to dispel them, trying to just kill his heroes, or if you guys know, there are easier ways to kill Ambrosia. So if you want to, and you see, if you guys watch your replays, watch your attack, like defenses, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to survive a little bit more. You can actually take advantage of using Storm Rider, using Ravager as well, so that basically if someone comes in with like a enlightened pangoli trying to wreck your life, and you can easily maneuver and make it so that you have Storm Rider to reduce 40% of the skill damage, or potentially that if you actually reach it where they do 20%, more than 20% of your life, you get invincibility for 7 seconds. That comes in handy like crazy too. Okay, so that's on the defensive lineup. So here's the offensive lineup. You want to always have Blockhead. Blockhead is number one requirement for Ambrosia. You want to have it as quick as you possibly can. All right, so offensive. We want to talk about her explosive behavior, right? Her skill does huge damage. Huge. Literally, it's an aerial effect damage. So literally using her, she'll do a huge explosion and heal really big too. So you want to have Blockhead, you want Ironclad, guaranteed. And for Guild Clash, Lords League, Resource Rage, Ironclad is super key and important. Super ridiculously important. Okay, so that's basically something you want to do so that you can destroy the base even faster, even stronger, and just make it that much better. Okay, so another thing you guys can do on the offensive lineup is having it where you can use Chiron. Chiron will make it so that they actually reflect damage that's taken. Also, increases their damage by 40%, reflects for the 53% skill damage and attack damage. So literally you can make it so she's kind of, not only is it explosive, but you want to make sure that you also don't want to die, right? Because right now, for those of you guys who have Woven Fiend on the defensive lineup and you're using Ambrosia as a mainline hero without Berserker, you will die. Because when you hit the walls, because she hits all the walls, she hits a huge space of walls. She gets one shot without Berserker. So if you guys basically use Berserker in the Hero Aid lineup, you basically can walk through the base and not care about Wolven Fiend that much. Okay? Um, Another cool thing that you can actually use for her is you can use Saphrex, you can use Hydrasaur, anything that basically gives a higher attack. Okay, as long as you can get higher attack, you can take advantage of getting that bigger damage output. So Toxic Shaman, Hydrasaur, Saphrex, Skull Mage, Chiron. Okay, those are the 5 things you can pretty much use for anything that's based on attack. Oh, and don't forget Ironclad. Ironclad is more for bases though. It's not 100% meant for um, like killing heroes. But literally, if you want to kill heroes and you want to just knock them out first, and your main focus is killing heroes before you kill base, that's definitely the way you want to go. Okay. Um, So let's kind of move on to the next one. So I covered the first part, which is base, siege. In arena, you definitely want to have blockhead and ironclad. Those are the only 2 things that you really, really require. Really, you don't need berserker. You really don't need berserker that much. Iron like in arena, it's all about destroying the base. You don't really have to kill heroes. As long as you can push heroes back, you can even at low levels. You don't actually have to have enlighten in Pangoli to win. You just have to know how to push the heroes back and kind of target the base. If you had Ironclad in every single hero aid slot available, you could totally annihilate that base like instantly. Okay, so like for me, blockhead is truly important. Ironclad is truly important. And then think about it as well. Like what could potentially help you the most with Ambrosia? What would be your third hero? Your third hero could be potentially a few different things. Um, you can either use Pangoli to make sure you do survive just in case you really like have problems and stuff like that. You can actually use Djinni as a hero aid because it gives you that crit from that explosive power. So like say you have Djinni, Ironclad, Blockhead. You would do some big damage. You can actually use Skull Mage as well, Saphrex as well, though, and Chiron as well. All the big attackers. Um, and literally that's all you need. The main 2 Ironclad, Blockhead, and you just kind of try to add as much damage as you can with either Chiron, Toxic Shaman, Skull Mage, Saphrex, Hydrasaur, whatever else you want. But Ironclad and like Blockhead is the 2 you would want in every aspect of arena. Okay, you want to only target down the base. All right, now let's move into battle royale. This one is when it comes down to you killing heroes. Remember, this is heroes that you want to utilize to your maximum potential. This has nothing to do with bases. This has nothing to do with anything but killing hero bosses, right? So you want to maximize damage as much as possible. So number 1 requirement here, Berserker. If you cannot survive the hits that are dealt by the bosses in Battle Royale, you need to make sure you have a Berserker because they hit like a truck. If you don't have Berserker equipped, your heroes die rather quickly. Unless you have really rapid healers and you have full-on heal team, then you don't have to worry too much. But yeah, definitely you want to do that. So here, I would 100% say Battle Royale. If you can have Saphrex in every aspect here, you can see that Saphrex actually gives you a 25% bonus. Or actually, it would be 50%. It would be 50% damage for normal and skill because you're using it in Battle Royale. If you can actually have Berserker and Saphrex, In every single one of these heroes, you can really maximize your damage output tremendously. Like Sapphirex is key for all of these, for all five. If you really want to do some major damage on the enemy heroes. Another thing you want to definitely work on is you want to at least have one of your hero lineup have like Bullhead. Bullhead has a hero aid will actually help multiply out your damage as much as possible. So when I say Bullhead, let's just say you can see from his skill. I mean, obviously that's not maxed out. So let's go ahead and look at it from this perspective. So if you wanted to check out Bullhead, I mean, even for me, I'm still lacking on Bullhead a little bit. But like Hero 8 skill at level 9, deployed hero hits an enemy 25% chance to increase all damage taken by that target by 15% for 8 seconds. Stacks 5 times. If you have this on Ambrosia, oh my god, you will have an unstoppable amount of stacks. So you'll more than likely like keep up the 5 stack as much as possible with Ambrosia because she hits so fast. If you can actually put Sapphirex, Bullhead, and Berserker together, and you're just knocking down the enemy heroes, dude, you would wipe them really quickly because you're doing as much damage output as you possibly can. Okay. I mean, if you guys don't have Bullhead, you don't have all that, you could substitute. You could, and Sapphirex, you could substitute. Remember, you can always use Skull Mage, Toxic Shaman, Chiron, whatever. But remember, no Ironclad here. Um, but yeah, I think mostly it's just no Ironclad here. It's focusing Berserker and Sapphirex in every spot. So those two are truly important. And then the third one you kind of mix and match, right? Like for me, I would definitely abuse the fact that Bullhead. I mean, if you're shooting, even though it says 25% chance, right? It's almost like the other one where it was like 50% chance. With how fast she shoots, machine gun status, the stacks will always be there. The stacks will always be there. So it's not even going to be like, will the stacks ever fall off? Will the stacks ever like go away? You more than likely not. And if it ever did, you like Ambrosia would easily make the stacks like reappear, and the damage output for you would still be like tremendously high. Okay, so that is pretty much it for Battle Royale. And then now you guys want to talk about Guild Boss. This could be an interesting topic because I know literally you want to have Blockhead in every aspect. Blockhead, Berserker are the two required heroes for all of Guild Boss. So for Ambrosia, having Blockhead and Berserker, I put Enchantress because she was a little squishy, so she still kind of dies. She is fast. But I would want to say that if I actually were to change it, I would really want to change it and use Bullhead on her just because she's so fast. She is ridiculously fast. She has long range, she shoots fast as hell, so the stack should always stay there and maintain. Okay? Another thing you can do is you can actually use Arcane Caster too. Arcane Caster really gives you a huge bonus for Guild Boss. Arcane Caster gives a huge bonus because at level 9, you can see that you will get a 12% bonus damage for every single hero that you have alive. So that means you start off with a 60% damage bonus. 12 times 5. You're going to basically be at a 60% bonus damage. Or maybe it's actually not 60 just because the boss counts as 1. So maybe it would be 12 times 4. You're still at 48%. It's still actually really good. But regardless, you're starting off with about 50% damage increase. 48 to 50% damage increase if you're using Arcane Caster, right? But that think about it like that. If you have it in only Ambrosia, that means your Ambrosia gets a 48% damage increase. But think about if you had it in all the other slots as well. how much more damage will you do, right? On top of that, you can remember Bullhead will also give that like additional damage output because you're stacking. You're stacking, 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 like more and more damage, right? So that's the best that I can give you guys for Ambrosia. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. And let me know what you guys think about my hero aid tips. Okay, on how to like utilize it, how to maximize, in all the different fields. Remember, I will be listening to the comments down below. So leave me comments on specific heroes you guys want me to review, what hero age you should be using on them, and so on. And we'll definitely go from there. So thank you guys for watching. Henry from Fun Game Reviews. This is Henry. Peace out.